Hi, everybody. Thank you for being here. We are here, this is the breakout session with the AIM Ideas Lab youth. My name is Jenny Liang. I am the program manager of the Ideas Lab program, so I'm really excited to share, to have our youth ambassadors share their findings with you all. And I know we're running late, so we'll just keep this, pretty casual conversation. I'll let the students kind of share what they found, what they're interested in, and we'll probably have a little bit of time for Q&A. Okay. So let's just begin. Why don't we have everybody introduce yourselves and just share with the audience a little bit about why you decided to join the AIM Ideas Lab.
Should we just go down the line? Yeah, sure. All right, cool.
Hi, my name is Melissa. I'm from North County. I decided to join this club because I'm really interested in mental health, especially going through one of my own issues recently. I found that it's a really big issue that we really need to research more into and just try to do everything that we can to help.
Hi, I'm Talon Mincer. I'm a senior at Carmel High School, and I've just usually been very ingrained with the community. I'm working with a lot of different things, volunteering, so I just wanted to help out my peers from a first-hand point of view, and so I decided to join AIM, and it's been an awesome experience. I don't know what to say, honestly.
Yeah. Hi, my name is Chloe Yee. I'm a junior at Stevenson High School. I joined the AIM Ideas Lab because I was in it last year, and my friend was really struggling with a mental illness, so I wanted to just get educated on how to help my friend better.
Hi, my name is Marley Miller. I'm a sophomore at Salinas High. I was a part of the Ideas Lab last year, and I also presented at the Symposium last year as well. I joined the lab and wanted to speak because I think that youth mental health isn't talked about nearly as much as it should be, and when it is, it's not teens that have a voice in it, and a lot of decisions are made without our voice, so if we're a part of representation, then I think that it definitely will help provide better treatments and better action plans.
Hello, I'm Mariana, and I'm a senior at San Domenico from Marin County, actually. And I decided to join AIM because being a teenager with like a really strong passion for mental health, I just came in with the hope to help highlight and help understand or make people understand how mental health works and how teens go through like the struggles and with mental health and just overall just highlight.
Perfect. So great to meet you all. Thank you for being here. So just to kind of introduce the audience to the AIM Ideas Lab, can we talk about a little bit about the format and what kinds of things did you learn during the program?
Yeah, so, we went on for about a period of 2 months, and during that 2 months, we got initiated and acclimated to everything we were doing, and then we constructed a survey, and then we fielded the survey to our fellow teens, whether it was via word of mouth or texting or social media or just any kind of medium like that. And yeah, so it was just a very good experience. You guys want to say anything?
I could personally say that I really did learn a lot about new perspectives. Coming in, you only have one perspective of mental health, but in reality, it's so varied to each person. So I found that talking through it with my peers who had different experiences really just overall developed a better understanding of new ways we could help and new issues that we haven't even realized.
So you mentioned, fielding the survey to your peers. Can you describe a little bit about what that experience was like? Did you receive any feedback when you asked your peers to take the survey? Just talk about that experience.
When fielding the survey, I posted it myself on social media, and I had people swipe up on it and ask oh, what is this? What's it going towards? What's going to happen through it? So a lot more interest peaked through mental health by just posting it on a platform, because not a lot of people know about AIM, and by posting about it or by giving people the opportunity to take the survey, there's a lot of different responses and ideas and perspectives that we can get from that.
Yeah, I actually announced it at my school's assembly and had people look at the assembly digest and read about AIM and what we do. and then have them fill out the survey. I also had a lot of the students at Stevenson ask me what AIM is, and they were really eager to get involved. So I'm gonna try and get them involved in next year's AIM Ideas Lab.
Yeah, and so for us in our county, the way that we fielded the surveys was we had like I think overall 3 schools in our group, and they were actually mainly private schools, and so only 2 of our schools were actually able or allowed us to put out the surveys like during school hours, and so that made the survey be more. It overall was just mainly about these 2 schools. And then so what we did to try to put these surveys out to other schools, and so for example, I made a video and introducing what we do and then talking a little about the survey and how flexible it was. And then so we tried to put those videos out to a few schools, and then so we were able to get some survey responses.
Yeah, thank you. It's interesting. As a mentor or facilitator, originally we were like, okay, just tell your friends, post it on social media. But the students themselves really came up with different creative ways of sharing, getting the word out. They made a video, they made gifts, they made flyers. So really a lot of creativity and just excitement beyond what we as adults traditionally think when fielding a survey. Awesome. So let's talk a little bit about what you learned. Was anything really surprising to you in the findings?
I think something that immediately stood out for me was just, it depends on the grade level, but it varied between 30 and 50% the frequency of the thoughts of suicide. And of course, it's one way to just talk to people and kind of hear about those things kind of offhandedly, but to really see it in the numbers was something that was really surprising. I know that mental health has been an issue in schools, but I didn't really know of the severity of it until that statistic kind of jumped out at me. Oh, it was high school, so it was just from freshman to senior. Yeah.
Yeah, just to add on to like the age range, it was about like 14-year-olds to like 18-year-olds, just to give some
Yeah, something that surprised me in our findings was actually in the top risk factors by grade. In 9th graders, bullying and cyberbullying and easy access to drugs and alcohol ranked at 2 and 3. And easy access to drugs and alcohol during freshman year was a bit surprising to me just because I think it's more common to see it in 11th graders or 12th graders. And it was very sad to see how 9th graders, when they're only like 14 or 15, are getting access to these drugs and alcohol, and they don't know how to combat it or how to use it properly, I guess. But even at that age, you shouldn't be having access to that.
I also saw this divide between 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th. So for 9th and 10th grade, we see a lack of sleep, cyberbullying, social media, and lack of self-care and self-time as one of the first and second top mental health challenges. And then in 11th grade, we see pressure from guardians and parents, pressure to succeed academically, and negative home environments. And it kind of just tells us that the younger individuals are just trying so hard to fit into society with social media, which in our research findings, we also found a lot of eating disorders and body dysmorphia, which can further just kind of identify that they're just trying really hard to just try to fit into a societal standard, while the older individuals are struggling to succeed in society. They're trying to succeed academically, where they're going to go in the future. So it's cool to see how that age range differs in what they really worry about.
Adding on to that, I think that by breaking it down through 9th, 10th, and 11th, and 12th graders to see where the top risk factors stand, it's important to recognize that all the teens that struggle with mental health, they don't all struggle with the same thing, and it should be addressed and treated like that. So if you're struggling as an 11th or 12th grader with academics, you don't necessarily need to treat 11th and 10th graders the same as you would treat the seniors. There should be different plans according to that, supporting 9th and 10th graders in their time for sleep and self-care while supporting 11th and 12th graders with their classes for admissions to college and such.
And I kind of just wanted, our results were a little different, but they're almost the same. So for us, like the main risk factor was actually the pressure for academic success, and that actually was like very high in all grade levels. Coming in first was 12th grade, and then it actually goes junior, sophomore, and then 9th grade. And then also social media was very prevalent, and then so we actually kind of connected it with like the COVID-19 sometimes, because some of us were seniors, and so basically as a senior, you really see like the impact of social media, because actually like throughout when we started high school, only a few months in our 9th grade, we were hit with the pandemic. So a lot of our high school years were actually throughout the pandemic. So we were just spending our time in social media. So that heavily influenced us. And actually for us, we were, it says here that we were like highly affected. We were most affected compared to the other grades in our county. So then I definitely agree with that, because all of that are just so many different factors go into the social media, because in social media there's talk, diet culture and just so many other things is brought out by social media too.
Yeah, it's interesting because when it's a survey, so we had respondents check off different risk factors, and so we see it as discrete, right? We see it as, okay, social media, we see it as COVID-19 or low self-esteem, self-worth. However, in a lot of our discussions, we're realizing that these are all connected, right? We can't separate social media from COVID-19, knowing that a lot of the students, spent a lot of time online during the pandemic. So it's, as we're parsing through this data, it's really about telling this whole story, right? Telling this whole story of what youth really today are going through. I'm just curious, on the topic of social media, the isolation, the self-esteem, is there anything else you want to say just about kind of how you think it impacts teens and maybe what teens can do to combat some of those challenges?
Well, just from a first-hand experience, I think we really do use too much social media. It really, whether it's on Instagram or on Facebook, the thing about us is that we frequently compare ourselves to peers. In my personal experiences, seeing, what kind of lives each others are living, or even the likes on the posts or how they look in them, And I think these are all very non-important things. And I think we often put too much emphasis on our own worth with that. And I think aligning ourselves with our social media presence or the achievements we get is just an unhealthy thing. And I really wish we could work more towards getting away from that stigmatization.
I definitely agree, and I myself am on social media probably a lot more than I should be, but I don't think that it's all necessarily bad. There's definitely negatives, but I follow a lot of self-care with Juan. They have lots of positive quotes and stuff like that, so they come up on my feed if I'm over school that day and I'm scrolling on Instagram and I see a positive post. It's you're doing great, or I'm proud of you, or this is gonna pass, or stuff like that. It just makes it's not always bad on social media. There's a lot of positive accounts and information like that that can brighten a day just by scrolling through Instagram.
But we have the potential to misuse it. But it can really be used for good things.
I definitely agree.
Yeah,
There's definitely
okay.
negatives and positives attached to it, but what you follow and what you align yourself with on social media impacts that type of situation, what you choose to follow and that type of stuff.
And this is actually a really a topic that I've personally thought about a lot. I definitely think it's really all about perspective, and so because I also I like to listen to some motivational things or something, which 2 years ago I probably would have been what but definitely now I see like the positives, and before, I think it could be really easy to compare your life with other people, because social media can be very fake sometimes, and we think that it's real, but it's not, and it can be really easy to fake something. So we start comparing, and then things are romanticized, and so there's just so many things, and it really affects you. But I definitely think that there are also positives, and I feel like you could look for those positives in social media because it's a very big thing and it's an important thing.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I'm always trying to learn how to use it better too in my own ways. Personally, with my own experience, it's the very reason why I developed a mental health issue. I developed, and I'm not afraid to say it, eating disorders and body dysmorphia, which thank God I've recovered from. But as a young person on social media, seeing the lives of many other people, and with the data supported with anxiety, social anxiety, depression, low self-esteem, low worth, eating disorders and body dysmorphia, they all just scream, I'm looking at somebody else's life instead of paying attention to mine. When I wake up in the morning, I guess when I was going through that period, the first thing I did was I grabbed my phone. Instead of waking up and starting my day positive, I saw the whole world in my hand. I saw the negative, all the bullying, all the weird Twitter comments about weird discussions that don't even matter. And all of that made it so much harder to go through my day with a positive attitude when I just woke up and I saw everything negative at the touch of my screen. So I definitely think that there needs to be more regulations on it, and there needs to be probably more age restrictions on it too, because I definitely think that younger individuals are more susceptible to being a victim to social media.
Thank you for sharing. It seems like there's a lot of, we can't say it's all good, we can't say it's all bad. And I know tomorrow, the team from Alcove is leading a discussion on social media with some of y'all, so we'll definitely get into this a lot more. I just want to hold off on questions because I just want to timing. And so for you all, given everything you learned, what do we do? What should adults do? What should youth do? What recommendations do you have?
I think just listening, I think just by the people being here today, whether it's physically here or just learning, I think that's already doing something. I think we just need to really spread the awareness of these types of issues, because often, whether you have experience with a child or just have one close to you, you never really get that firsthand experience of that environment, but more importantly, like that brain. So I think just spreading what we feel and what we know that our peers feel to you guys will just help raise awareness, so you can maybe check in or something like that,
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. And I think that sometimes a lot of teens or kids just tend to tell their parents about what they see or something online. So I think that instead of maybe making them feel bad or something, because sometimes kids hesitate to tell their parents little things just because they might call their kid or just tell them that it's not important, and for them it's a big thing just for the moment or something. And so just to not invalidate what they say, and you can put your input in a different way, because kids sometimes they believe everything, so you can give your input and but without invalidating their feelings.
Yeah, definitely. I also think that schools should implement first aid mental health training for their teachers and for their counselors and also students. I know at my school, when I presented the AIM Ideas Lab to my school, they were really interested in getting the training. And a small people in the mental health community at my school got the training, and I definitely see a difference in how they're making our mental health wellness center more accessible for students. They're making it more comfortable. They've definitely gotten better at the privacy thing and keeping all the information that students share private, and just ensuring and telling the students that it's a safe space, no one's going to judge them.
I agree. At my school, we have a wellness center, but it's very limited. There's 3 kids in the whole big room at a time, and you have to call ahead. So you have to go up to your teacher in class and say, I'm struggling. I need an e-hall pass to go to the wellness center. And then they have to call the wellness center in front of the whole class, say that you by your name needs to go to the wellness center, and then you could be turned away because there's a 3-person limit. So I think that making sure that there's access for all kids and discretion, because I don't want to say, hey, I'm having a bad day in front of my whole class to leave. I think that that's not a good use of our wellness center, especially if we already have the space and trained professionals there to make it more accessible to everyone in the school.
I would just like to say, just share your stories, you know. Mental health is so varied to each and every person, and you could talk about the same topic every single day, but unless that one person just hears it from that one voice that they actually need, it's what's most important, you know. Sharing stories, sharing hardships makes it more likely that a person will get out of their struggle because they see that somebody else survived through it, so they can do the same thing.
Thank you. Yeah, there's a lot that we can all do, but even when you hear the students talking about the school wellness center, sometimes it's tiny steps, right? Sometimes it's just paying attention to implementing these resources very consciously and mindfully, because it's a waste, right? If you have the resources, but students aren't feeling comfortable to use them. So how do we get students more comfortable? So just any last words you want to share with the group before we go to Q&A? You know, words of hope, any positive messages we want to leave off the discussion with?
Just thank you guys for being here. Yeah, thank you for being here, and thank you for really taking in everything that the symposium has to offer, whether it's the breakout rooms or like discussions. I just really appreciate how everybody is trying to become more aware about this problem that we really do need to focus on.
Thank you, and thank you for sharing your stories. They're really powerful, and I hope you all continue to do so.